Hello everyone, No One of Consequence here with a new video. This is my initial review of the digital version of the Heroes of the Borderlands starter set. The Heroes of the Borderlands starter set was officially released today, and I purchased it through my Roll20 account. And normally I would not purchase a new product release from WotC. However, since this one is a reimagining of an old school D&D adventure module, I felt like I had to purchase and review it. First of all, this is a Roll20 add-on, and it cannot be downloaded. Upon purchase, you do not get a zip file. You must create a new game in Roll20 and then select this product as an add-on in order to use it. Now, as I mentioned in the title, this is a review for the digital version. If you want to know more about the physical product, there are plenty of unboxing videos out there. These are just a few of which I watch, and I'm sure there are many more. And also, I will try to keep this review as spoiler-free as possible. So when you log into your new Heroes of the Borderlands Roll20 campaign, you land on a blank page. Inspecting what other pages are available shows you these options. So first, let's look at the Roll20 tips option. So what you get on there is just, as you can see, several little bullets with illustrations and explanations of how to use this product within Roll20. Now, closing that out and looking at the right side menu within Roll20, you see all the different options, and it starts with the keep on the Borderlands itself. So just for demonstration purposes, I selected the Trader's Shop. This is the top half of the handout which appears. And here is the bottom half. You can pause the video here for a moment if you want, so you can read through it. Now, this handout is associated with the Trader's Shop, and the link appears underneath the Trader's portrait from a couple of slides back. You can click on the graphic to see a larger version. And you can select one of the inventory items, and when you do that, you get a handout with additional details regarding it. Scrolling down the right-hand menu, we next come to the player character templates. I just selected the top one, Cleric 1. Clicking it causes the associated character sheet to appear. Now remember, this product was created for D&D 2024. This is the top half of the character sheet. And here is the bottom half. And this is what comes up if you click on the Bio and Info tab for the character. Scrolling further down the right side menu, we come to Equipment. I just selected the first one, Acid, and this handout appears. Continuing on, we next come to Magic Items. And for demonstration purposes, I clicked on the Cloak of Elven Kind. This handout appears, and you get the description. Next comes the roster of all the NPCs in the game. I selected the top one, Andrella, and her character sheet comes up. This is what appears when you select her Bio and Info tab. And finally, you can also bring up the portrait handout for this NPC. Moving on down the list, next comes the Creatures roster. I randomly selected Bugbear Warrior here. And here is the bio and info tab. And the associated illustration handout. Continuing on is the library of tokens, which comes with this game. Here are just a few examples which I clicked and dragged onto the tabletop. And lastly, we get the various illustration handouts. This one is a null, obviously. And here is a halfling family. I have not yet read the specific encounter that this handout goes with. Here is the list of rollable tables, which the game installs. You can pause for a moment if you want to read through the list. And the rollable tables all come with associated macros, which the DM can enable to appear on their screen for quick access. Game also comes with a couple of card decks, equipment, and magic items. Now, just an aside, that safety deck, which you see is automatically installed by Roll20 on every game you create. It is not part of this particular product. The playing card deck is also a default install with every new campaign created in Roll20. Here I selected the equipment deck to appear on the tabletop, and then I drew the top card, which is Dagger. And flipping the card over reveals this information. The game also comes with a compendium. This is just the top of the menu. Again, I selected Acid for demonstration purposes. Okay, going back to the Pages menu, I've now selected the Keep on the Borderlands folder. There's only one map in this folder, an overhead view of the keep itself. And selecting it reveals this keyed map of the place. There is no battle map per se of the keep, only this one. Going back out to the Pages menu, I next selected the Wilderness folder. Now, there are several maps in that folder. Here is the player's version of the Wilderness map, but I don't want to reveal any further maps in this folder. And finally, there is the Caves of Chaos folder. There's no comprehensive map of the entire Caves of Chaos like in the original B2 module. There are only battle maps of individual lairs. This is a small example of the battle map for the Kobold lair. There are also DM notes associated with the map explaining how to prepare when the players come here. I've blocked out some of the details to avoid spoilers, but you can pause for a moment if you want to read through the rest of it. All right, so how does this Heroes of the Borderlands starter set compare with the original B2 Keep on the Borderlands adventure module? Well, when the starter set was first announced late last year, I did a rather tongue-in-cheek video in which I speculated on what the new product might look like. My sarcastically humorous video did come with some legitimate points. For example, here is the background description for the adventure module, and I've highlighted the important point. Always the forces of chaos press upon its borders, seeking to enslave its populace, grape its riches, and steal its treasures. If it were not for a stout few, many in the realm would indeed fall prey to the evil which surrounds them. All right, pretty ominous. However, in 2020, WotC published this article, the relevant parts of which I have underlined. Orcs and Drow, being two of the prime examples, have been characterized as monstrous and evil. then going on down, starting in those, which were then new books. And those books, orcs and drow are now just as morally and culturally complex as other peoples. So in other words, humans in skin suits. So bottom line, orcs appear in the original Keep on the Borderlands adventure module as just one of the many monster tribes there, but here we are told that orcs, and drow elves for that matter, will no longer be regarded as universally evil. And so obviously that creates a big discrepancy between the original module and the proposed new version of it. Because in the original module, there is not just one, but two different orc tribes inhabiting the Caves of Chaos. So my question in that video was, how are they going to reconcile that fact with their new take on orcs? Never mind the question of why are we stopping with orcs? Why aren't all the various humanoid races receiving the same nuanced approach? Anyway, I can now report to you that they resolved the orc conundrum by simply not including them in this new Heroes of the Borderlands starter set. All the other humanoid races from the original module appear in this new one, but not orcs. Instead, they substituted in some entirely new encounters and monsters to fill the vacuum created by the missing orcs. But there's another troublesome to WotC element in the original B2 module. Every humanoid tribe living in the Caves of Chaos includes not just warriors, but also females, who are sometimes non-combatants, and young, who are always non-combatants. This is just an example from the Kobold Caves in the original module. You can see I've highlighted text in this particular room, 17 males, 23 females, and 8 young, which do not attack. Now, I regard the presence of these non-combatants as a sort of Kobayashi Maru scenario for D&D players. Most of you are probably already familiar with the Kobayashi Maru scenario from Star Trek. But if you're not, then you might want to pause a moment and look it up. It won't take you long to get the gist of it. The moral conundrum the characters face here is if they decide to eliminate the young, then they have whacked defenseless non-combatants. I'm trying to be careful with my words here due to the algorithm. But on the other hand, if the character spared the young and they somehow survive into adulthood, then the characters have unleashed upon the world a new generation of monsters and all that that could imply. Thus the unwinnable scenario, and it's always interesting as a DM to see how the players deal with it. However, WotC solved that problematic situation by simply removing all female and young non-combatants from this new version of the adventure. Every humanoid the players encounter will be a warrior who is capable of fighting. Another minor point is that this is really the only nod to non-combat role-playing which appears in the original module. And it just describes how the players, if they realize that the various tribes are fighting amongst themselves, then the players might be able to use role-playing to take advantage of that fact. However, in this new version, many opportunities for role-playing with the humanoids, instead of automatically resorting to combat, are baked into the scenarios. All right, so conclusions. My first impression of the new Caves of Chaos is that it is much easier than the original Keep on the Borderlands. Just skimming through the various Caves of Chaos encounters leaves me with the impression that they are much more forgiving than the original adventure module. Other YouTube creators have commented or even complained that this new starter set feels more like a board game than a D&D adventure. That doesn't really bother me, and it's nothing new. TSR released several starter sets over the years that looked a lot more like board games than anything else. Here is one example. And here is another. And here is another. And still yet another. Another complaint I've heard is that this is not really an overarching, coherent campaign. Instead, it is more like a series of vignettes. Well, all I can say to that is even a moderately experienced DM should be able to string everything together into something like a coherent campaign. All right, so what's my final verdict? Grudgingly, I will say go ahead and purchase this, as long as you're not someone who has a hard rule against giving WotC any money, period. Again, my personal position is that I will not purchase any new WotC products either. But, like I said earlier, since this is a new take on an old school adventure module, I felt like I had to get it. So my reasons for suggesting going ahead and getting this product, well, you do get a lot of Roll20 assets for only $15. An experienced DM can easily adapt the material for use in an OSR rules-based game. For example, you're not required to install the 5th edition character sheets if you don't want to. Players new to the D&D game should find this an enjoyable experience. It's very easy to understand and follow along with. And enough has been changed so that old B2 veterans could still go through this adventure. Now, I realize that most grognards will probably scoff at this product, but to be fair, enough has been changed that it could feel mostly like a new adventure to old D&D veterans. All right, well, that's all that for now. Thanks for watching. If you enjoyed the video, please hit the like button. If you can, please leave a comment and let me know what you think. If you haven't yet, please subscribe to the channel. If you know of a good place, please share the video. And anything you can do to help support the channel, I appreciate it. Thanks again. Bye for now.